So Jubilee did a 1 Republican versus 25 Kamala Harris voters video with Ben Shapiro, and this is where 25 contestants run up to a chair after they hear the timer go out, and whoever gets to the chair first, they argue their position on a topic. If they do well from the other 24 contestant perspectives, they stay for a while, and if they don't, they raise a red flag, and if the majority raises the flag, they get voted out, and someone else needs to go to the chair and debate. And obviously it was a slaughter fest, and if I gave the highlights, it'd be like an hour long because this was an hour and 40-minute long video. The one moment when I was listening to it that boiled my brains was when a trans man, aka woman, ran up to Ben and tried to appear masculine, and he ended up berating Ben to the point where even Ben stopped talking. So right away, this trans man is trying to sit in a way that's very condescending and appears masculine. This whole trans stuff is clearly an act.
So, first question, can men get pregnant?
Men cannot get pregnant.
Okay. Awesome.
Why is this guy acting like that's news?
So,
Definitionally.
Definitionally, okay. Do men experience SA?
Sure.
Got it. What about the existence of trans men?
What about the existence? Do you mean women who believe that they are men? What are we talking about?
This is always such a ridiculous question because no one is saying this person doesn't matter or doesn't exist. We're saying your feelings have no argument to what you think you are. I mean, you can't think your way to pregnancy.
Here. Women experiencing gender dysphoria.
So my other question is, do you benefit from white supremacy in any way, shape, or form?
I'm going to need more specifics on what you mean by white
Well, here,
supremacy.
let me give it to you then.
Sure, please.
So I'm a transgender man.
Okay.
I've experienced SA.
Well, that was very dramatic and unnecessary. I feel like this person practiced this at home.
Okay.
And abortion rights affect me directly. So if we're talking about the American dream that you live, why don't I have access to that? Because there's no legislation, in the history of America, that legislates a man's body. So why does mine have to be legislated? I've got a vagina.
I'm not interested in what your genitalia are.
Clearly you are. I mean, it's all over everything you make, buddy. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you, but
I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. When we're talking about abortion...
No, I don't. I mean, you can present it here, but in most of the content that you have, you attack my community constantly. And you don't even realize guys like me exist, who actually share a lot of similarities to you and everything, because I'm a married man of 20 years.
It's obvious this trans person has a mental illness the way she's acting. Yeah, it's terrible she experienced SA, but to lump SA to make all abortion legal is a scam because that happens in less than 1% of all cases. And I'd say the majority of the Republican Party are in favor of those exceptions.
Got a wife.
I recognize that you exist. I disagree with your claim that you are a male.
So if I was sexually assaulted, right, and I didn't have access to that abortion care, do you believe that I should have carried that child to term because I was sexually assaulted?
I mean,
no, I just want to make sure that that's what you believe. Because as a transgender man, I have seen your side of the entire political debate, never ever having the conversation of what an American freedom is. Because why am I not allowed to live my American freedom as a man? You know, I mean, you get your choice as a man to live and free and all that.
You're really moving around terminology very wildly here.
And so are you, because that's the tactics you play in your game. And you've done it the entire time. You've jumped from one subject to the next. You speak so fast, and I know how you work. So how does it feel to have it in your face?
Oh, well, I mean...
This is why this irritated me, because this trans person is trying to turn this into a gotcha moment by speaking all over the place and not letting Ben speak. Yeah, Ben speaks fast, but at least he lets the other person speak. There are studies that 80% of the LGBT community have experienced some form of physical, sexual, or emotional abuse. And some may say this abuse have led people to turn towards the LGBT community. I see this person as a victim of their abuse, getting so far into the head without help. And then you have influencers and doctors warping their mind into believing they should have been born a different gender. And voila, you have a broken person.
Because I'm sick and tired of the shit that you have put against my community, especially black trans women. Because you constantly disregard all of our needs and then use us politically as a pawn when we're 1% of the population. Why not focus on the economy itself? All of us are struggling, and you want to focus on trans people. You want to focus on a black woman when this is clearly a glass cliff situation. America's falling apart, and let's give it a woman right when it's all falling apart, when we'd had, what, 50 men run it and it looks like shit? Look at where we're at. Truly,
So-
where do you think that we're heading? I
So-
mean, it's so funny to watch
You've
like
been going
white
for-
supremacy just fall apart the way that it is, and you ride so hard because guess what? In other countries around the world, women are not having children, and why is it? Because of the patriarchy and all the violence that men perpetuate, and all of this idea that abortion is somehow going to solve it all by forcing women to have abortion instead of focusing on the real problems that we're facing in our society. We're just going to completely ignore that, and we're just going to go, you know what? The line item is, let's make women have babies so that we can continue this capitalistic society that we have. Why are we doing that? What? I mean, why? Because you want to push white supremacy and because you want to make your check? It does great for you. Meanwhile, people like me have to live with the consequences of all of your rhetoric that you put on a daily basis, and including my entire community and the intersectionalities of Black women, men that experience SA, trans people, everyone that comes in. And I'm so sick of the idea that you can come in with this barrage.
This goes on for another minute, and I couldn't handle listening to that minute again. Why not focus on the economy? That's what we try to do, but this is the community that pushes this TIAQ plus agenda on our kids and require us to accept them. And if men are the problem, why did she try to switch genders? I'm serious, this is an actual person and an actual voter. I feel so bad for this person.